When 8 years ago, I was 25, so you can do the math, how old I am. I arrived to the United States to study for priesthood. I had to learn actually everything. Not just, about God and the church, but how to really live in this country. Starting with the language, of course. My parents, I don't know why, but then when I was 6, they forced me to study English back in Poland. So when I arrived here, I was able to speak, but still, there is always something to learn, okay? Always something. And now, I had to learn how to eat, and I know how to eat. I had to learn really how to eat your food. Once, a group of my friends took me to the restaurant to have a nice dinner, and they told me, Witold, you should have something really classic. I'm like, what is it? Steak. I'm like, I've never had steak in my life till this point. First steak ever, I was 25. And so I'm like, okay, let's do it, but it says like you can have like this one. I'm like, I don't know which one I should take. So I don't remember which one I took. But finally, the waiter came to our table and asked me the question, what I want to have. So I said the steak. It's like, how do you want to have it? I'm like, steak. Like, what? Just make it. I'm like, no, sir, you have to. Yeah, he was trying not to laugh. He was like, yes, sir, you have to tell us, on what level you want to have it cooked, starting with rare up to well done. I'm like, I don't know, like, let's do well done because it sounds well. So now I do medium, FYI. I had to learn how to drive. I knew how to drive, but when I came here, we have some other rules than we do have in Poland. One of them is, which I love, is for the very first time I was sitting at the passenger seat, and a friend of mine was driving. And at the intersection, when we had a red light, he just stopped, for like a second, and then he kept going, right. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I was the red light. I'm like, no, you can do it here. I'm like, really? Awesome. We don't do it in Poland. You have to stop. Red means stop, don't move. Okay, this is called American freedom. I can do it. I had to, of course, do college, 4 years of theology in my second language. English is my second language. And so I told Father Brian once, you wanna see how it feels? Go to Poland and do the college in Polish. It's like, no, thank you. Exactly. Yep. It's not so easy. I had to embrace not just language and food and how to drive, but even the culture itself. So the movies and different sports. When I was studying in Michigan, Detroit was close, and so I was like, yeah, go Lions and Red Wings. But when I moved to Denver, now it's Broncos and Avs and Nuggets. I got some jerseys, so whenever I go somewhere now, it says now Denver Nuggets. So people go, oh yeah, like, are you rooting for them? Like that was last spring when they were in playoffs. I'm like, not really. I'm just wearing this so it looks like I'm from here, okay? But speaking of language, that was the first thing that I had to learn, and it got me humbled pretty quickly. My whole life, till this point of coming to this country, was like, whatever I do in life, I want perfection. In school, in sports, perfection. You always win. I hate losing till this day. So when I had to learn English as my second language, when you learn a language, you make a lot of mistakes. And I didn't like it. But you have to speak, make those mistakes, learn from them, and repeat it. This is how you learn anything in life. So I was so convinced when I came here 8 years ago But, I will do my best. I will be the best Polish seminarian, with my English. And so at the seminary, everything was fine. But when I was visiting different places in the country, whenever I spoke, people immediately know, like, oh, where are you from? I'm from Denver. No, for real, where are you from? I'm like, do I have an accent? Yeah, you do. I'm like, really? And I've been fighting for so many years not to have an accent, but it's not possible anymore to get rid of it. It's like biological thing, like you cannot, your mouth is formed this way, you cannot change it, Even if I took so many classes, I would still, you would hear the slight, accent in my speech. And so it got me humble, like I will never sound as a native speaker. But then I realized, maybe that's good. I'm gonna use it as my advantage. So a year ago, I started a podcast because people told me, well, if you do it in your second language, it's gonna be a disaster. Hold my beer, I started a podcast, and it feels so weird when I go to Costco in my just jeans and hoodie, and people are like, are you Father Witold? I'm like, yeah, how do you know? Because I recognize your face, but then I heard you. Okay, see? Yes, now they know who I am. My point is, when I came here, I had to immerse myself in everything. And this is how it's done. If you want to really feel like at home, you have to take everything on you, including language, food, and culture. Then you can start calling this place your home. So that's what I've done. Jesus did exactly the same. He became one of us, and so he took everything on him, including a flesh, the body, a language, food, culture, and of course, the theme of this Sunday, parents. He had to have parents. So he chose to be born and to grow up in this family. That was his choice. Now, we cannot choose our parents. They are the gift from God. And so you should always look at your parents as the gifts. Yes, sometimes when we were kids, we had these thoughts, and let's be honest, everyone had it at some point, like, yeah, I wish I had different parents. Because there is always something, you don't like about them. Because there's always greener there. But then when you become a parent, you're like, now I understand. Now I do understand. But my parents did their best. They did their best. But my question would be, for Mary and Joseph today, like, how do you raise God? Like, he is perfect. You are not. How do you raise God? And what's really funny, when we think about Holy Family, of course, we have Jesus, we have Mary and Joseph. Mary, no sin at all. There is no sin committed by her at all. And then you have Joseph. He doesn't speak a word in the gospel, right? This is like the perfect model of husband. Like, he never speaks. He just does, I guess so many times Mary had to be like, look, Joseph, what do you think? I'm like, There is nothing in the Bible about him like when he speaks. It's always when he does, because that is how Joseph works. He speaks through his actions. But perfect model of husband, right? He always does. But yes, how do you raise God? How do you raise God? Parents, you are the principal and the first teachers of your children. Not the teachers at the school, not the Catholic priest at your parish. That's not my job. That's your job, to raise your children. I will not do this for you. Yes, you send your kids, for a few hours every day, Monday through Friday, but still, this is the most important job. You are the teachers of your children. Mary and Joseph, they had to teach Jesus everything. So they had to teach him how to speak. They had to teach him how to eat. They had to teach him how to write. But most importantly, they had to teach him how to love. Family is the best environment where you learn how to receive and how to give love. So whenever you hear about Jesus, whatever he does in the gospel, it's because Mary and Joseph taught him. All his actions are because of them. They taught him how to love and how to sacrifice. Everything that Jesus did in the Bible was taught by Mary and Joseph. Yes, he was God too, but on a human level, he was taught everything by his parents. Traditionally, we say that Jesus lived for 33 years. And we believe that he just did his ministry for the last 3 years of his life. Which means that 30 years of his life he spent in Nazareth with Mary, not with the apostles or the people. Yes, we could say that he wasted 30 years of his life. But it shows you how family is important for God. Spending 30 years with Mary, and we don't know how long with Joseph. We know that Joseph was still there when Jesus was 12. Then we don't hear about him. So we don't know when he passed away. But at least 12 years, that's more than 3 years with the apostles. God wanted to spend so much time with his parents so he could do his best just for 3 years. 91%, I did the math, 91% of his life spent with Mary. 9% with the apostles. It shows you the importance of God, of the family in God's plans. Now, the family, of course, is where children receive the first proclamation of the faith. So this is for you. We call this the domestic church. You teach them about God. You teach them how to pray. You teach them how to love, how to, like St. Paul says, how to forgive. How to forgive. God really wanted to be immersed in this world by having the family. And he spent so much time with Joseph and Mary, so then he could do his best with the apostles. We say that the family is the original cell of social life. Yes, this is how you build a society, by having healthy families. Do you want to destroy the society? Destroy families. So simple. And you can see it clearly in today's world. When we want to reverse the meaning of the family. Man and woman, not anymore. Do whatever you want. You will see the results in 20, 30 years. Because now these kids are kids. When they will have their own families, you will see the flood coming. That needs to happen. So we as Christians, we are called actually to show the world how the healthy society is being built by having healthy families. That's why when I came here 2.5 years ago, I remember from this spot, my first homily, I told all of you, invite me for dinners because I want to see your families. I want to see how healthy this parish is. Because if I see the families and how you eat dinners, how you interact with each other, then I see what problems I'm dealing with as the priest, as your father. And now it hit me yesterday, because Father Brian is gone on his sabbatical. He left me in charge of some of the features of this parish in St. Louis, and one of them is finance and HR. So I told Father Brian before he left, you know what? My first project would be a new hot tub for the rectory. He's like, no, don't do it. I'm like, no, I won't. I won't do it. That's just a joke. I was just testing him, But if you put me in charge of HR, it means I can fire and hire someone. These words are so close in English, so I can make a mistake, I did this once when we were looking for a new financial analyst. Father Brian was gone, and he asked me to do the last interview. I'm like, oh, I feel like a boss now. I can do the last one. And of course, we hired him. So Tyson works for us. But when Father Brian came back, he was like, Witold, how was it? And I said, yes, I fired him. Like, you were supposed to hire him. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. It's just one letter. These words are so close. No, we hired him. But for the very first time last night, it hit me because Father Brian is gone, and I'm in charge now of money at this parish. And I've never done this before in my life. Like, I was never in charge of the church. Yes, I have been a priest for almost 5 years, but always like a second, third in command, not like the first one. Now when I am, equally with Father Sean, it hit me yesterday, I don't know what I'm doing. And I am the CEO of this church now, but no one taught me how to be one, and I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, we have all these employees, and they help us to run the church, but I've never done this before. And it reminded me about Saint Joseph, when he was told by an angel in his dream, no, you will become the father of this child, and you should get married with Mary. I think I know what he felt. It's I don't know what I'm doing. It sounds crazy, but he did it. And I talked to some of you, and all of you actually told me the same thing. When you became parents for the first time, you were like, Father, we didn't know what we were doing. It's you just do it. How do you change the diaper? I don't know. I've never done this in my life. Yeah, you learn it. Jesus wanted to have parents. The best environment to learn how to do anything in life, how to be human, and how to love and make sacrifices. So whenever you see Jesus in the Bible, yes, that's Mary and Joseph behind the scenes. Even Joseph haven't spoken any word in the Bible, he speaks for Jesus. The way he behaves, the way he heals people, he forgives their sins, and he brings them back to God. A few years ago, when I was still in Poland, I asked my mom, Mom, what would you do if I gave you a check for an amount of money you spent on me from birth to the age of 18? I Googled it today, so with today's inflation and all of this, raising a child here in the US from birth to age of 18 is $240,000. This is how much you are supposed to spend on a child, on average in the United States. So yes, if you have 4 kids, it means $1 million spent on them. You could have been a millionaire, and you have chosen to have 4 kids. Great sacrifice. That's what Mary and Joseph did. Great sacrifice. When Mary was told, yes, you will become the mother of God, she said yes, but she had no idea what it meant. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm terrified. But if this is the will of God, I will do it. I will do it. I asked my mom that question. What would you do if I give you a check for $200,000? which is 1,000,000 Polish zlotys. It's like you become a millionaire like this if I give you this check in Poland. So she looked at me and she said, Witold, you cannot put a price tag on love and sacrifice. It's priceless. Yeah, precisely. That's what Jesus did on the cross. It's priceless. He learned all of it from Joseph and Mary. And we cannot put a price tag on love. So today, since it's a Holy Family Sunday, I would encourage you to call your parents if they are still alive and say thank you, because they spent so much money on you. They probably cried a lot, many nights that they couldn't sleep because of you crying. If they are not alive, pray for them today. If you are still a child, which means, yes, your parents are alive, do it. Call them, or even go to them today or this coming week and say thank you. Because the family, again, is the best school that enables all of us to grow to the full measure of humanity. The best environment when we become humans, and how we become humans, and how we learn how to love and how to make sacrifices. Mary, Joseph, they had no idea what they were doing. So whenever you have issues as a parent, ask Mary, ask Joseph to help you. They will. They know what you are going through. But again, we cannot put a price tag on love and sacrifice. Let's pray today that we will really embrace love that comes from our parents, so we can learn it and extend it to our own kids. This is how we build a healthy society. Stay close to God, be humble, and you will do God's will.